This time Yerushalmi Yoma, and the article is edition where Mamash Tapach of Gimel Ralph, we gave a Loch of Zayin. And in the building we're Mamash on the top of Yerushalmi Ralph, we gave a Loch of Zayin. So we're talking about the Kohen Gadol. Polo ate a pearl. He came to his par, to his bull, which was his korban. Pearl made the Ulam Mizbech, and the par would stand between the Ulam and the Mizbech. So the article brings down a diagram here. This should be in front of the Ulam. The Ulam is over here. Mizbech is over there. Between Ulam and Mizbech would be this area over here. And as you can see, the top is the north, and the bottom is the south. The towards the Mizbech is towards the Ulam is towards the west, and towards the Mizbech is towards the east. Although that's not explicit on the map, but I guess you can figure out because where north and south is, you know where east and west is. So he would stand in Ulam Mizbeach, Rosho Ledaro. The head would be facing south, Upanav Lumarav, and the head would be facing on its face. It would be, in other words, the body would be aligned with the head towards the south, and the face would be facing towards the west, towards the Ulam. Kohen Omer b'Mizrach, and the Kohen would stand behind him on the east, and the part of the Mara facing the west as well. So Machshtei Adav Alav Nizvader would put his two hands on him and say the vidui. I would like to show you a picture actually. This is from the Machzor HaMikdash. Very nice dramatic picture of the Kohen Gadol standing there with the cow and being Mizvader. Okay. So he put his two hands on it, on the korban, and said the vidui. This is what he said. On Hashem, as we say in Yom Kippur, Avisi Pashati Uchatasi Panecha. I sinned in various different possible ways of sinning. Averos are deliberate, Pshaim are rebellions, Chatasi are inadvertent sins. In front of you, Aniu Beisi, I and my household. On Hashem Kapena Lavanos, Pshaim Chatoim, atone for these sins, Shavisi Shabashati Shachasai Vecha, Aniu Beisi, Kasub Toros Moshe Abdecha, as it says in Torah Moshe Rabbeinu, Ki Yom Hazeh Chapel Lechem, V'hein Onim Achrav, and all the people in Beis Hamikdash should answer, Baruch Shem Kvod Malchus Elom V'ed. So the one it says, Ezu Tzvon Mizbeach Shu Kosher B'Shchitas Kodshei Kodashim. What is the north side of the Mizbeach, which is kosher for Shchita of Kodshei Kodshim? The first opinion we have is Mikir Mizbeach Tzvoni, from the north wall of the Mizbeach, Kibad Koisel Azor Tzvoni, up to the north wall of the Azara. Ake Kol Mizbeach, there is the corresponding to the entire wall of Mizbeach, that is Yeshnon Amma. They're like 32 Amos. Time changes the Girsa. I'm sorry, I don't know if I read Divrei Rebbe, which is what the article changes, based on Reb Chaim, to Divrei Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, in order to make it aligned with the Bavli. So in any way, it's this sheet over here. Here it says Divrei Rabbi Yossi here because it's going according to its own the changed Girsa, but according to the way we have it, it's Divrei Rebbe. So it's this area over here, Mikir Mizbeach Tzvoni, up to the end of the Mizbeach over there, which is about 32, up to the Akira Hazar over there. This whole area is about 32 Amos. Okay? That's according to the first opinion, either Rebbe or Rebbe Yossi Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon, Omer, Mikanega, Beis Chalifos, opposite the Beis Chalifos, base where they stored the knives. I connected Bein Olam Mizbeach up to Bein Olam Mizbeach. And then it says here in the Gemara, Ad Koisel Azara HaMizrachi, to the eastern wall of the Azara. The Kormeida changes the Girsa. Ad Koisel Azara HaTzfoni, up to the northern wall of the Azara. And this is this additional area, beginning Bein Ulam Mizbeach, which is over there, and going all the way up north here, and then here's the opposite the base of Chalifos, which is right there. Okay. Now it says Rebbe Mosif, and this is again the article added because we're Rebbe Yosef Yehuda, because otherwise why would we Rebbe being Mosif over here? So Rebbe Mosif, Rebbe added Makom Drisas Ragle Yisrael, the place where the regular Yisraelim could go into the Azara up to which is 11 amos from the opening, and also Makom Drisas Ragle Yisrael Achas Amma, and Makom Drisas Ragle Yakonim Achas Esrei Amma, for another 11 amos where the Kohanim would go, only Kohanim. Mikiro Shemizbeach Tzvoni, from the north wall of the Mizbeach, Vad Kosel Hazora HaMizrachi, and up to the eastern gate, eastern wall of the Beis Hamikdash. So here it's showing it not just up to the northern wall, but up to the halfway the Bengal Mizbeach. But this area there, you look and see this is Makom Drisas Ragle Yisrael, Makom Drisas Ragle Kohanim, and the gate on the eastern wall. Additional amount, the article explains the additional amount, which include here not just Mikir Mizbeach, but also the halfway down, or the halfway down Mizbeach, that's based on the Bavli. Okay, but as it may, says the Gemara further. The Korban Ada actually changes the Girsa here again. As the words Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Lo Matzin Shchita K'shei Bazar are superfluous. They don't really fit into the city over here. They also don't seem to be true, because Shchita is K'shei Bazar. And the Korban Ada and others go on to correct the next line. Rab Mefaki Tamudi, Rab commanded his Talmidim, directed his Talmidim, B'chol Asar, in every place, Havantani, learn. Now here it says Shochet, and next line says Zorek, and the Korban Ada and others change it to Havitani Zorek Chutzni Para Havitani Shochet. All places now Korban explains Hagi Gasirim B'chol Havitani Zorek Chutzni Para Havitani Shochet. Hagi B'shul Chomakom Tani Shizorek Pasel Bazar. Every place you show is what says Pasel by a Zar, that's Zorek. Shochet is kosher Bazar. Ava Shchita K'shei Bazar, but Shchita is kosher Bazar. Ava Para Tisnei Afil Shchita Psula Bazar. But by Para you learn that even the Shchita is possible Bazar. Kohen has to check the Para Aduma. Rabbi Yochanan said, Lo Matzanu Shchita Psula Bazar. We never found any Shchita which is possible to be done by a Zar, including the Para Aduma. So the Gemara asks on that. Rabbi Chia Barba, the Rabbi Chia Barba asked, Vox even say V'shachat v'hizah. Says by the let's see the pasuk. Psukim Bamidbar Yotes Gimel Dalet. Satem Osal Lazar Kohen Batzi Osal Michutz Machlev V'shachat Osal Lefanav. V'kach Lazar Kohen Midama Betzal V'zol Nocha Pnei Omed Midama Sheva Pamim. So making a hekesh here. Vaksi V'shachat v'hizah. Mahazoya, just like the Zoya, the Paraduma, Lo Huchshara Be'isha Kebe'ish. It's not kosher to be done by a woman as it is by a man. Avshchit Lo Huchshara Be'isha Kish. So the Shchita here cannot be done by a woman as can be done by a man. So we see there's a linkage maybe between Hazoya and Shchita. As Korban says, "V'came the shchitas isha ksher b'chol kachim psula hacha, v'adin shchita zor psula conscious." Like a shchita, a woman's kosher all over, but not here. So the shchita zor must be that we derive from the zor. The hekesh, the linkage that it's no good over here, which is of course in fasting Yerushalmi, which explicitly says that the shchita of a woman is kosher, even by kachim, which I don't believe, and you'll find anywhere in the Bavli, because you have a shchita of Tosis, the beginning of Chulin, that a woman is possible with shchita, but it's obviously that it seems that it's not Me'ikra Din because of this Yerushalmi. So Rabbi Yochanan fends this off. He says not necessarily. He says, what about the splitting of the water of the Paraduma? This we're talking about in the pasuk we just mentioned is Zoya, which the Kohen Gadol was Mazeh outside Yerushalayim at the process of doing the paraduma. But later, when you have the ashes and you mix with the water in order to sprinkle on somebody who's tamei in order to make him tar, we know that a woman can't do it, but a man can do it. There's a complaint Moshe says, even a man who's not going could do it. Yeah, it's possible for women to do. Can not break good base apart. How kokshin lazos chutz tum madregelis v'isha. Everybody can do azor except for who's a male, not a female or a person whose gender is in question. So in any event, could be we find cases where an isha is possible. Yes, it's true, but a zor is kosher, so a zor can be kosher for shchitas paraduma. Again, Amalei Variazah is memeh reik sheb zor b'sulbisha. Amalei tamon leis kosav koyin. By Isaiah of the paradum water, it doesn't say. It says vizah tahara tamei, I think. No, she says ish tahor. Says ish tahor. Bizarre oil kol kelim ba'al yusham ba'al nogeh be'etzem b'chol meisa b'kever. Doesn't anything about kohen though. She says ish. So there we can distinguish. There tam leiski v'kohen leis amida milsa kosav ish. So why does it say ish? L'achshir azor. If it does say kohen, you need ish l'achshir azor. So the next says he ish he isha. So Shaitar so change that. I think it's a good change. Eloloti isha. So instead of words he ish he, it's eloloti isha. In other words, you could read it both a bit clear, but and make it work out. But I think Shaitar is a nice change. That it says ish there to specifically say not a kohen, doesn't say a kohen, but it can't be an isha. But here, where it says kohen, right? Because it's in our passage by Paraduma, we're talking about a linkage made between the shchita, the shchita and the hazah, even though it doesn't say explicitly in pasuk the shachat also kohen, but our assumption is based on that hakish that it's a kohen. Hacha Steve Cohen. Of course, like I said, it doesn't say Cohen, but it's from Lincoln Shel Lazar, and the commentator explains it over here, but I'm not sure I necessarily have to read it, but I'll read it anyway. Abakam Shita Steve Shachat also Fanov. The Martina Isha was just going to preclude a woman, Al Korach da Lazar Kai. And that must be because it says Lazar in the next passage. Martina Mine Isha Martina Namizor. So just like we preclude from a woman, we also preclude a Zor. Okay, so we machshrin a Zor. If we say Zor's kosher, that somebody else can shech the Lazar roeh, and therefore it could be a Zor also. Isha Namiti kosher, a woman should also be kosher. So for the clearly, it's the point is we learn from Lazar that and the hekish between the shechita and the zoya that it's got to be not just the male, but it has to be a kohen as well. As Gemara says, "Baram hachak siv kohen." No, it says Lazar. He zor, he isha. They're both basel. Okay. If you're going to say it's kosher bizarre, it's kosher bisha. Then she kosher by a woman as well. Okay, now we bring it back to our sugya. The Shor Yitzhak said that Rabbi Yochanan said, "Name B'Shem Rabbi Shimon Chai, Parash Yom Kippur, Tzarech Kohen." A par of Yom Kippur also requires a kohen to shecht it. Gemara only the par. For Lama Lomar Seir, B'Seir. What about the goat of Yom Kippur, which comes later on, right? The Seir Hashem. So he says, I'll tell you why. Because Dukari B'Shachat Ve'vi. Because he makes also a linkage between B'Shachat Ve'hevi. No, actually, there's not an answer. There's a basis of the question. Because it says in the passage, "Shachat esir chatasher lo'am bevias am beis baroches v'soas damok asher sadamapor v'sos kaporos in kaporos." So let's say that Lama Lamar Seir Dukai v'Shachat Vevi Ma'avav Kohen Av Shchit B'Kohen. Why just the par? Also the Soyer should be the same status. And indeed says Gemara, Rabbi Yaakov Rachel Rabbi Asa it said that Rabbi Yochanan Shem Shem Yochai said par v'soyer Shem Kippurim tzrikin kohen. They both require kohen. Okay, so not just the par, also the soyer. The Korban notes that the par is explicit. The Korban says it's soyer kohen by Shenem by Shachar Aaron's par Chazas Shelo Uksiv Chuka B'Sova Par Shelo Akev. Not to the par it says explicitly Aaron has to shecht it, but the soyer is what's learned from the Hekesh of from the shchita and the azah on the kaporos, and now the bringing the blood into the kodesh and the sprinkling on the kaporos. Okay, now the Gemara goes on to the video. Amar Chananya, different version. Chagai. It's right, Chagaya. Right, in different versions, Rabbi Chagai. But Shana Omer Ona Hashem. The first mention of the name is Ona Hashem. Please HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'shniya, the second mention Omer Ona Bashem. Please in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, so that's as we do it today. As Moshe says, Ona Bashem HaKadosh Koch Shimcha Yuchar HaGodav HaNorah. Kaperno, with the power of your name, the great and the unique and great name should be Mechaper. Tani, Kesem Mizvada. We have right. It says, as Mizvada, Avisi, Pashati, Chotasi. You say that, as we saw in Mishnah, Ve'omer, and you say, no say Avon, Vafesha, V'chatos. You may mention that pasuk. Because Baruch bears our sins. So actually, not true. He actually says it. In other words, it's telling us why we do this order. Avon Pesha V'chatos. We would say it's from this pasuk. I was looking that up, Reb Chaim, to see just now see if it says the Omer actually says it, or that the Omer we know it says in the pasuk. And I saw while I was looking it up that Reb Chaim makes the same change as Eretz Yisrael makes before. Elohoti Esra and he says, "Kain Yira Tzarech Lomar." So Reb Chaim, we know Reb Chaim didn't see. I have the Shai Torah, so didn't use it, but it's interesting. He makes the same change here. Okay, so going back over here, Tani Kes Zara Bisi B'Shai V'Chatasi V'Omer, as it says, no say Ma'avesh Chatas V'Omer V'Stavadar Lovas Kol Avonos B'Nei Yisrael. So the pasuk is very good. There's sign Chavav. Samachar Rosh Teyada Rosh Teyachai. V'Stavadar Kol Avonos B'Nei Yisrael. That's Kol Pishayim. So the order is again in that pasuk also Avon Pesha Chatos. Divrei Meir. Chachamim say no, that we don't do that order. Chachamim say Avonos Elos Donos. Avonos are deliberate. Shoim Elim Rodim. Shoim are worse than deliberate. They are rebellions. Like that was Lachis. Chatosam Elu Shkagos. Those are inadvertent. So. Why would you me'achashi mizvados donos rodim? You did video on the more stringent, on the donos, the deliberate sins, and on the rebellious sins. Because mizvados shkagos, and then you're going to come back and do the video on the shkagos. Elakachim mizvados. Rather, you do the video like this, in this order. On Hashem chatasi, first the inadvertent ones. Abisi, the worst ones, the deliberate ones. Pashati, the worst ones, the rebellious ones. Lefanecha aniu beisiu b'nei Aaron kagasu b'toras Moshe avdecha. Lay more, like it says, "Ki b'yom hazeh chaper lechem zeh v'chulei komer zeh chaper lechem tereschem kol hasim v'nei Hashem." Ve'yomim achra baruch shem kvod malchusa lo lamvoed, and they would say baruch shem kvod malchusa lo lamvoed v'chein motzinu derakom misvadim. We find that all people do videos do it in this order. David amar chatonim avosenu hebinu v'yirshanu. So Yirshanu is the same thing as Pashanu. First Chet, then Avon, then Hirshanu, which is a rebellion. Shlomo Beno Amar. Shlomo's son said, Chatanu Abinu Rashanu. Again, Rashanu instead of Pashanu. Daniel Amar, Chatanu Abinu Rashanu. Umaranu. So he adds on, he differentiates between Rashanu and Maranu. Some of the commentators not here, I think in the Machzor, say Hirshanu means we made others wicked. So be two separate things, I guess. Chatanu, if they appear as a separate class, Hirshanu means we were Marshia others. So Afkukach, Okay, so if that's the case, Moshe Amar, no say Avon Pesha B'chatos. Why did Moshe say it out of order? The proper version is Chatan Avinu Pashana. Why did Moshe say Avon Pesha B'chatos? Omer, why also saying the pasuk? Besides love, Kavanos B'nei Yisrael. We say in that pasuk also it says first Avonos, then Shoim, then Chatos, right? And what came from Mizvada, I was doing some Meradim. Once you were Mizvada on the deliberate sins, they become as if they are doing tshuva, and at the very least, we know tshuva me'ava becomes like schus, but tshuva me'ira, they become like shchavos. So therefore, saying that Avonos and Shoim should become like for us, like as if they're inverted chatos. Okay, it says when I start upon me, now there's a question which Shem we're talking about, the Shem Yudke Vavke, or the Shem of 42 letters, which is the Rashi Tables of the Tefillah Rabbi Chuna Ben Akuna on the Bekoach. Of course, there were many times Kohen Gadol mentioned Shem Hashem. The question is, did he say Yudke Vavke only 10 times? He say the Shem of 42 letters only for 10 times, and the Yudke Vavke more times than that. So, not clarified here. But here he says that Asar Pani Kohen Gadol Meskei Shem Mekuran Shisha B'Par. There were six times in the par. He made 2 viduim on the par. One for him and his household, his wife, and the other for the Kohanim. And Shlosha B'Soyer, then another 3 times with the vidu on the Soyer, the Lazaza, when he would vidu for Klai Yisrael. Vecha B'Goros. And one time when he did the Gorol, Hashem Chatos. Okay, so when he did the lottery between the Soyer Hashem and Soyer Lazaza. Hakrovim, the ones who were close, they would fall on their faces, and when they heard the Shem Hashem, and and those who were distant now fall in their faces because they didn't. I guess they didn't hear it, and but they would fall. They would say, "Oh, Elu Elu." They would both say, sorry, Elu Elu. Lo Yuzazim Misham, not move from there. Achumis Alimem, until the name was forgotten from them. So there's as says Zeshmi La Olam is my name for eternity. Zeshmi La Olam. The it says come out feel Krovim. Layers is even the ones who are closer heard the name. Layers is in base Mikdash should not move from the base on Mikdash. That was by the end of the day, I guess. Achnichem Hashem. I'm Furash. Until they would forget the Shem Amfurish, which they would, which they had heard, because it's supposed to be hidden. Then she said it in a loud voice. The Misharaba Prutim, once people became poets, and they started using the Shem Hashem for other purposes, so they forgot it. So the Korban says Misharaba Prutim Shem Mishtansho Abishlo Yedo Burio. Even though they didn't know it properly, but they used it anyway. Inami Shri Mechal Yom Kippurim, and Mechal Yom Kippur Yukaisa Sam Yakshu Shamu. They wrote it down immediately when they heard it. So they circumvented this forgetfulness somehow. So then, Mishra Putzei Amar B'Kol Nevuch, they would say it in a low voice so people wouldn't hear. Amar Tafra, and Tafra said, Omer Yisi Min Achaya Kohanim. I saw among my brethren the Kohanim B'Shura in a row. V'Teis Oznei Klape Goin Gadol. And I heard, inclined my ear towards Gadol, Shemativ, and I heard him. Mavlio min imas kohanim. He would make sure to absorb the name while the Kohanim were saying it. So we're I guess accompanying him was some sort of nigun or of some sort. So the type of corporator says Shemativ was Shem Ben Yud Beis. I think it's supposed to be Mem Beis. When the corporator it's changed in the art scroll. No, he also has Yud Beis. Top down and off. Anyway, there are 2 pshatim in the corporator here because the assumption is someone there during. We're talking about during this, not during the video Yom Kippur, but during the Siyas Kapayim, as Pnei Moshe says. So the Korban says, "Shemativ Shem Mem Beis." Or Kohen Gadol Mavli also The imos shaman imushar konim. I can't go mavlioso shalishma v'shaimos shonayri. So it's talking about Shem Mefurish and the rest of the year during the Nesias Kohanim. Inami b'Shem ben Arba Arab Yom Kippurim. It's over the Shem ben Arba, and it's on Yom Kippur. So it's either about the rest of the year or it's about Yom Kippur in any event. Whenever you use it, the Kohanim made sure to make a noise to try, I guess, Mishraba Prutzim, or maybe the rest of the year. That's a Kohen, he says the rest of the year because on Yom Kippur, maybe say explicitly, but the rest of the year, until the Prutzim came along, and the rest of the year, even before the Prutzim came along, it was Mavliyah and said it silently. So said it so it would be not above the Kohanim, so other people would hear it, but Rabbi Tarfon heard it. Okay, well, that's where Chavdal and Alpha stop here for today.